Back to another episode of Leading Crypto. It is Hump Day TA. As Bitcoin loses 17K support, what does this mean for the crypto market? Bitcoin, Ethereum analysis. We're going to take a look at Dogecoin as well. Order flow and open interest. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We come to you every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we just jump right into it. So I'm CVO, joined by Magic Internet Money and Max over in Dubai. And we are going to just jump into the TA. So I'm going to hand it right on over to Magic and get it.
There we go. Perfect. All right. So yeah, guys, not much has changed since yesterday. That's the TA for the day. No, I'm kidding. So we talked about yesterday coming down into the zone, basically, local demand, some high time frame averages there, coming back up to where the weekly open. You can see that you've come into that. Just above it is the value area high of the range technically, but you're just tapping it right here. You're not getting any closures, and that actually gave you the short to fulfill the weekly pivot, and then just come back down and take out some of these lows. So realistically, all you've done thus far is held the local range here and swung failed this low. Okay, so I'll go ahead and turn that on right here at 16,749. Very nicely on the hourly, and I believe the 4-hour has confirmed as well. So what I'd be looking for is some kind of a back test of previous resistance or support. What I would do is just pull my local gold pockets if I were you guys, just to have them on the chart and see if they line up with anything nice. And again, our local highs at the local gold pocket. I think Max had a theory about this at one time, that these come in right where that initial rejection is. So you would be looking to come up here and again reclaim the weekly open. Weekly open is still going to be the key level to get back above. You get above the weekly open, we can start talking about the previous week high, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing is broken just yet. As you can see, you're still hanging around this box. However, the longer that we are here, the more it looks like you're back in the range. This was a deviation. You've already back tested the value area high. So if you don't get that move in the next day or two, getting back above the weekly open, I would expect to start fulfilling some of these targets down below. And that would be like the November NPOC, and then down to the daily in that 16.1 to 16.2 region at the range lows, maybe even come down below the range low, as we know price likes to do that, and take this previous week low. If you were to take a look at this on a high time frame look, get rid of some of this stuff so it's not as messy. You can see that this is a weekly, right, weekly candle here, and what we're looking at is, you can see right here that this is where you have, closed above for the first time in several weeks at about 16,787. So about $30 higher than our current local low here, this local SFP. So for all intents and purposes, you don't need both of them, but what you're looking at is a back test of that change of behavior. You start losing this level again, we do have single prints, and I would be looking to fulfill this NPOC and then probably come down to this region. And that would just imply that Bitcoin remains range bound. In terms of the S&P 500, very, very simple, guys. This was one that we were looking for coming into the region up here, into this box, so to speak. We called it the fun box, the fun zone right here, because this is going to be the target of our harmonic, right? The first target, I should say. So you've come back to the all-important 39.23. We talked about this last night, coming back here, getting a bounce. Ultimately, our target still remains down here over time, so we'll see what happens with this bounce. Until it's back above 40.28, I'm really not too excited about it. And even then, I think this is still kind of a decent resistance here, kind of stretched up. But if something does happen where the market does rally, let's say, I think there's like a meme trend line. I think that's what I call them, meme lines. Trend lines are meme lines to me, from the all-time high right here. I prefer the regression myself, but you do have a trend line, I think, that comes in something like this. And if you extrapolate it out, it gets the highs really, really well. Right, and you can see that we'll get rid of this regression just real quick here. You can see that you're coming into the meme line. So if we were to break above this, what I'd be looking for is something like this, and then see if it comes back down and actually comes back below it like a fake out, in that scenario. But for now, you lose 39.23. We are heading down to at least 38.31, in my opinion, probably closer to 38 even, and maybe even retesting the 2021 open. So the levels are being respected, though. If you come back down to like the 5 minutes, this is a level we've had on our chart for months. So just want to highlight that you're getting the respect out of this. TA is playing out. Lose this level, we go to this level, right? That's simple. You can see it's gotten plenty of play in between. So it does look like we have a gap down here to fill as well. So it does kind of line up with the idea of pulling back a little bit. It doesn't break anything though. DXY have not looked at today, right? So for me, I'm kind of in the ballpark of will remain range bound here. Maybe even come back to the lows of the range, like Bitcoin wise, and S&P supports it, Bitcoin's price action supports it, and then also the DXY. I believe that was the tougher one out of all of them. Coming up to this region right here and kind of putting in the bounce here. So we're still kind of fidgeting around with this 105.34 level. Want to see that level get reclaimed, and if so, you can start looking up into these regions around 106 and 107, 108, that area right there, which again implies that these assets rotate a little bit lower still. Doesn't mean that we're going to dump to like 10K or anything. Doesn't mean that stocks are going to just fall off a cliff. But it does imply maybe a little bit of downside in the meantime. So we'll see what we get. I don't expect any huge moves until we get CPI on the 14th. So I think that's when that's coming in. So we'll see what happens in terms of the FOMC meeting and see what they say in terms of rate hike, which I think 50 basis points is pretty much cooked in at this point. I don't see anything too material happening beyond that. So that's really all I've got on Bitcoin and the SPX and DXY. It's the same as it has been. We're in a range for now. There are things that could be exciting as we talked about, but again, that Q2 low, until that's reclaimed at 17.5, it's almost not worth talking about. We've talked about this ad nauseum right here. This low getting reclaimed. And if you go back in time and just start putting these lows on, we'll just use this one right here. So you can see right here, you look to the right, what's going on, so again, come back, something like this. Didn't quite get the perfect back test, but pretty close. You can see this is pretty much a back test. So you're still failing to break into old ranges. So nothing has changed. So everyone that's getting excited about things, I think, is front running, the reversal, because they want to be the first ones to announce that they called bottom. And they've been doing that ever since, probably ever since here at 42K. I know a few of people that have actually. So probably want to stop doing that. I guess that would be the only thing I could say to that. Just, you're going to be wrong so many times before you're finally right. So, and as some people say, that the moment people stop calling bottom is when bottom is in, right? So we'll see what happens. So that's really all I've got. Very, very simple. 16,749 seems to be the level for the day. You lose that, and I think we do finally make that trip down here. Not necessarily Goblin Town, but it is. It's definitely a move down. And then, as always, the weekly open, and you can see why. Look at these daily levels, just absolutely getting rejected here. Someone holding that level very, very nicely. That is still the key level to get back above. And let me get off my screen. I'll turn it over to Maxwell.
On the big screen.
It's what you deserve.
Okay, so I'm just going to go over, as I always do, the what trade you could have taken since our last stream. I'll be honest, there's only been one. There has really only been one. Now, this one here, where you came down and took these lows, it was an SFP effectively, but if you go in and zoom in from an order flow standpoint, the issue you've got is the volume's been abysmal. Yesterday, the volume is weaker than it was on Sunday. It was literally like weekend price action effectively. And the open interest, you could argue there was trapped traders as you took the low, but it's so weak and minimal that it's not really anything that you can get excited over and jump in a trade off. But it was an SFP of I believe the London low in the New York session. So there was a trade there, but not really anything to shout about. And it didn't really go anywhere for a while. So it kind of, is this really the trade that caused this? Well, no, I think it just kind of wanted to trap some of the shorts that had been building. You can tell from the delta going down. Wanted to go and push them out. And you can see the liquidations here at the top. Now, we had a member in our live trading session just say, I want you to talk through this SFP. And you know what? Well, let's do it here as well. So if we go and have a look at it, the issue with this being an SFP is I wouldn't have looked for it to be like, this level, the weekly open. Sorry for all the lines, but it's this blue one here that we're looking at. You're not looking at this level and thinking, I want an SFP there, because there was an SFP there. It was the day before's high. You're not looking at this level and thinking, I want an SFP here. You're looking at this level for the strength in that level. And when you're getting a rejection from there, okay, yes, it is an SFP trade. It gives you your stop loss, gives you your entry. But, it's the level that you're kind of taking into consideration and trading off. So you have to keep that in mind. And then it was SFP'd again. But, if you'll put your stop loss more than $15 where you stayed into that, and, if you didn't and got stopped out, you can just re-enter. It's the same trade. Now, I'll be honest, trading these as SFPs, it wasn't really all that. I'll go through why. Well, the move up into it, you had decreasing open interest. Okay, so that's a weak rise into the level. You had no stagnating open interest. You had no trap traders on this initial one here. You had the exact same thing on the second one. Weak volume, weak open interest, and delta isn't telling you, this is the claim of this strong level that you've got. So ultimately, we close back below it. There's the entry again. Stop loss goes above the high. Let's see, it was stopped up there. Re-enter here, and then you kind of dawdle all your way down. And it's been a painful day to watch, because if you miss this price action, me being waking up at 6, 5 and 4 is just a bit out of my reach. So it's been a kind of slow trickle down, and it's been painful to watch. Really, it's been annoying because you've not really had the trades. There was one where we had a rejection in this area on the chart from the previous day fork. Now, if you don't know what that is, Magic has an educational video out in our Discord, but I'm not going to go over it here or show it. But you did have a rejection here that I was looking at. I kept it on from not the previous day, the previous day. But looking at it from order flow standpoint, I didn't have reasons to enter there. So, kind of shot myself in the foot by not entering on the rejection there. But I really couldn't see a reason to do so. And, you're in the middle of you're in the mix there. So it was kind of a ballsy play to do so. You did also have where's the day open? Yeah, you did also have a Dalton in play today. However, the previous value high was there, and the point of control was dollars below it. So it's really a hard one to take if you're going to go off the statistics to the point of control, because pretty much as soon as it entered, it tapped it. So it was rather pointless to trade that one. But ultimately it did play out, and we've gone down to all the single prints that we have to hold. And then we mentioned in the group, the level that you really want to reclaim here was the Monday low, which came in at around 16,845. And you can see when we came back up into it in the live trading session, where we had no trade because it was so damn slow, we said, we really want to claim this region. And looking at the price action, we had no such thing. The move into it was weak. There was no buying taking place up here. It was a really weak claim. And you also had towards the end of the session, you had decreasing open interest as it tried to break into it. Now, I'll shout out Tahil in the group here. He posted this effectively, but sent it to me, and it was like this month's value area. Really kind of is the thing that you need to get back above and really claim. And we've deviated this low, we've deviated this high. So it is promising that we get a move back, but really it needs to get back into this value area, and it's rejecting from there. And the fact that you have had, the rejection, arguably some short positions changing hands here, very minor, but it is there. And then you've had the decrease with shorts entering. So it's not looking too good as of right now on this claim, but I would certainly say that the VWAP, the monthly val, and the current developing monthly val, is the one that needs to be claimed in order for us to, start to think of them upside targets again. But it's struggling right now, and it's struggling because the volume's so weak. The market really doesn't know where to go. We did have bullish divergence earlier, but I was mentioning to the group about this type of in the live trading session about this type of CVD. And how it's sometimes tricky because it doesn't always offer you a great trade. But I'm going to leave that in the group. I've got a whole write-up of it coming soon, so I'll probably post it after this. But yeah, it was quite an interesting thing that we went over in the live trading session. But yeah, it was a different way to look at trading these CVD divergences. So I'll get that written up and posted. But that's why kind of when everyone was calling out that we've got the bullish divergence in the group, it's why it's not really had the legs to go anywhere. So I'm going to keep that one hidden. It was quite a cool little thing that we went over. But yeah, as of right now, if we can't claim the monthly open, the monthly val, you are looking down to that monthly point of control that Magic mentioned. I don't really see another trade in the, around here. It's got to really claim this, or it's got to go down there. Are you going to short here? It's not a good trade. A long of a claim is a riskier trade given the current price action. But if not, you've kind of just got to sit on your hands and wait for 16.5 to come around. And pray that it gives you a trade. But there's a gold pocket there as well, so I'm sure there'll be something tradable there. I'm just hoping it doesn't come at 4 a.m. But yeah, pretty quick and easy. There's not really too much else to go off from today's price action. We kind of came up and closed what single print we had from the little drop. But yeah, there's as you can see, we're right at the single print now. So it really pushing it to its limits if it can hold. But yeah, quick, easy, and I don't really have much else to say. And it's the kind of issue that I'm going to have repeatedly when we're having such low volume. This software, you need volume to really be able to pick it apart. And when we're getting minimal volume, when you're getting less than 200 million in, what's this now, 16 hours, it's really slow. So it's difficult to read, but we do what we can. And it's best to take this time to try and figure things out and go back and learn a few things. So I'm going to leave it with you, CVO.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that we're leading up to a decent move here soon, especially with the events that are going to take place next week. May end up front running that news a little bit, but may not, I guess, at the same time. But we do have a pretty big policy meeting coming into place, so that always gets things pretty exciting. So it's important that during this time, this is why we go over what we do at exhaustion almost to just kind of have you prepared. So I just want to kind of touch on Bitcoin from yesterday too for 1 second. Let me turn off Max. Okay. So yesterday, we were looking at this triangle, right? Because we were talking about how everybody's going to be looking for this or to this. Technically, it's an asymmetrical triangle, which could break either way essentially. But realistically, this is more so a, bearish pattern because we're coming into this from the high side. Measured moves, take you down to 16.7 and upwards of like 17,225. Covered this on Sin City Crypto yesterday as well. The idea here, right? So the reason why pattern trading, breakout trading can really go against you sometimes is for this exact reason, because more than likely most people are not looking for these levels that we're looking for, right? This weekly open. The reason being, that we've covered a couple times today, a couple times yesterday, why this is so key. Most people wouldn't have been looking to this. And if, when we got this breakout yesterday, what really unfolded, let's take a look. And I think the thing is down here now. There it is. All right. So you got this breakout. I'm sure this incited a lot of excitement. It was right at the end of the day. I think it was like 15 minutes before the end of the day, actually. So we came up this first wick right here, basically wick right through the weekly open, essentially taking out this high, matching this one right here. Came down for about 30 minutes, and then the next one came up and effectively took all these highs. So when you see something like that, you come back down, you close below your major key level. This is, that's what you're looking for a short position, right? So you also had the Dalton in play. You had, at the time, we had the untapped weekly pivot down here. So this was definitely, the move while everybody's looking for this area. And, more than anything, I guess we did kind of come into the measured move area of this triangle to the downside, but everybody would have got stopped out on the move up, probably started entering longs just to get stopped out on the move down. Probably starting to enter shorts at this position. And it's just a really choppy area if you don't have a strategy in play ahead of time. So did also cover this idea yesterday on Sin City. In the short term, looking for something just like this, right? Where you came down, lose this level, come back up, get the reclaim, and start to see how things react at this point. This level to the downside, obviously, we've already talked about this too, like losing this region, we do have the areas below us, right? You got the golden pocket, you got your previous week low, you got the daily down here, you got the overall range low. I mean, it's a slew of area down below you. So, but in the short term, this was a definite, a nice play for anybody that caught on to it. We were looking at this last night in the group too. So moving onward here, take a look at Ethereum. So during the same time frame, Ethereum, right, unlike Bitcoin, already met its weekly pivot here. So this was something that, this area had already been taken out. We already took out the low here, ran it back test of the weekly open as well, right? So this weekly open, not only for Bitcoin, but for Ethereum, both of those are, some key areas in the short term here. Really nice rejection off that. Obviously, Bitcoin took the hit, ran it down. Where'd we land? Right here at the weekly value area low, right? So our point of control from the last week also was our daily open. So you also had a rejection from the previous week, came back down, lost your daily open, lost your previous week point of control. All things pointed down to this level at that point. Whether or not this is the ultimate low in the short term is to be decided, but this definitely was the bounce area as far as that would go. It's also front ran a golden pocket, right? So that's always something to kind of be aware of, is other areas around those golden pockets, because most people are going to be waiting for it, right? So the golden pocket is just below here. You lose in this area, and obviously that starts to come into play. But yeah, realistically, I mean, previous week val, if that doesn't hold, looking down all the way to the low, back down to like 1154, that would coincide with Bitcoin, dropping down to some of the, the 16K region, things like that. We still have our untapped daily down here, right? 1038, we got untapped daily key levels. So all those start kind of coming onto the table once we start conclusively losing the previous week val. Realistically, I'd say the golden pocket down here at 1208. One thing to note here, right? So as far as that's downside, but if we start pushing through here, start claiming some of these levels, same thing for Bitcoin, push through, claim the weekly open, Ethereum, same deal. We still have this untapped monthly up here. So 1350 is still a pretty decent target in my opinion. For Ethereum here, at least, right? We've come through and we've taken all the lows of December at this point, right? Obviously, we still have some other areas right here. But so far, December's only 7 days old, but this month, last week, this week, we've essentially cleared the roster a little bit. So to get a little run up to this region, clear the highs, come up to a very high statistical target, 1350. I think that there's a shot for that. So it's definitely something to monitor, be prepared for. If you get some crazy volatility and swings up to these regions, that's not where you probably want to be entering longs. But yeah, that's what we'll be looking for. And then, we talk about 1221, 1222, right? Pretty often on a higher time frame. Just take a peek at where we've come down to, right? So once again, this Q2 point of control, which has been the line in the sand for almost 2 months here, or over a month, I suppose. Really more than that, but we go all the way back down to, this is June of this year. So the June low, flipped it, came back down, held it, lost it, flipped it, so on and so forth. So this has been a really key level here. This is where that previous week low has been now. This is where we've come down and bounced off in the short term here. So will this hold as support is the question. Definitely is a support until it's not right now. Zooming in, you can see we got some, let's see, it's very, very low time frame, right? But I wouldn't even consider that. So not really looking at divergences there on the RSI. But yeah, I mean, running into the VWAP at the moment, and just kind of, a little bit of a diddle in the middle. But if you're looking for like a spot position or anything like that, what are we, maybe 1 or 2% below the low at the moment. So less than 2% away from the current low, right below this major level here, if you were looking to try to take it up. But yeah, definitely, just a pretty neutral time all around. We are at some supports, really need to pay attention to see how they play out. But I would imagine we're going to come up and tag this region at some point in the near future, especially if we start holding on to this region. So something like a Fed, rally runs into there, something gets everybody excited. Just kind of keep that in mind. Dogecoin, trade Dogecoin pretty frequently and pretty well, I would say, right? So, we came off of, this previous run up here. This was our entry, had a nice 70% run with no leverage, shorted the exact high right here. Back down to essentially 0.087. Obviously didn't, catch the whole short there or catch all the price action, suppose. But once again, re-entered this range and, had some pretty nice statistical targets. So untapped monthly, which was our major target here, has effectively been tapped, right? So we can change that. And since then, running it back down, right? So we do have a golden pocket down here. So for Dogecoin in the short term, you're pretty much in the middle here. If you're not in a position, it's probably not the time to get in one unless you're just, DCA and hold for whatever time frame. But if you're actually actively trying to, short-term trade these assets, right now I'd be looking down towards this golden pocket or a claim of basically 10 cents. So start living back above 10 cents here. You're not necessarily, covering too much ground here, but you could have a nice stop loss just below and then look to take it up. This is the main area I'm looking for the next major short opportunity. It's a golden pocket. There's an untapped weekly here. And if I turn on the overall range, right, you see how we got the overall value area high coming in right here. You'll also note that the golden pocket is also the point of control of this region as well. So the highest volume traded area does come in here. So obviously a little bit more confluence with, reason why we may see a move back down to this region. But aside from that, I'm really just looking for this area, right? If you haven't taken any positions, I did take the long up. I didn't take the short down. So the next one I'm looking for is either here or here. All right. Essentially, I think that's really all I think that's what we have for everybody today. So coming into Thursday, it's essentially sometimes Thursdays tend to be a little actiony there. Let's see if I can throw it myself on the big screen for once. Perfect. Gentlemen, have anything to add before we wrap this up today?
Yeah, we've got PPI on Friday, which could bring some volatility. Then we've got CPI. So we've got the price index for producers, then consumers. That's like this kicking off next week. So I'm hoping Friday we get something because this slow volatility is killing me. And then hopefully, that's going to start the volatility off that next week's going to be very, very busy. So look forward to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. The volume this low, I mean, we don't stay this low forever. So should be good. Speaking of the Fed meeting and things of that nature, be sure to tune in with Magic Internet Money on Sin City Crypto on the 14th. He's going to be on there with Gareth Soloway for the Fed Day meeting. So that should be a really fun episode there. Tune into the episode I made with them yesterday. Other than that,
you think we'll see Gareth dance on the episode?
I think we will. My man. I think we'll see him doing the hedge fund dance.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was good.
Awesome. Well, great update, gentlemen. Hope you all enjoyed this, pretty quick and jam-packed update. We try to bring this to you every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So do be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content. Very, very newsless. It's just all about the technicals. We don't let the news, cloud us up. We do pay attention to policy changes, of course, but really don't pay attention to things like FTX collapsing and things around that. So, if you're interested in joining Leading Crypto Discord server, have access to all our analysis, come in, check out everything we have to offer there. We have member-only market updates Wednesday night, which one is tonight. So we'll be covering a slew of new information. I cover a bunch more altcoins than we do cover here, as well as some higher time frame, bigger outlooks and things for Bitcoin and that such. So other than that, we'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Until next time, everybody. Cheers.